Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 117 of Build Your Stash and Craft. Today we're going to make pocket posies, and this is a pocket posy and it's just something that you can give someone to carry with them. This one on one side says faith and on the other side says love, and you can make them say anything that you want them to say for the person that you're giving them to. And I've got one side on this one, I already have the gloss on it, and the other side we'll do in just a minute. So, but these are really easy to make, and they're just a nice fun little gift to give to someone. So to start with, you're going to need a little cardboard disc, and to make those, all you're going to do, I do 6 layers if my chipboard is pretty thin, and this is pretty thin. So I'm going to punch 6 circles, but the shiny part of your cardboard does not glue well, so you need to kind of sand that down just a little bit so that the glue sticks to it. And I find that if I sand it when it's one nice big piece like this, because if you'll notice on this one I did not, so then I had to sand each one individually, and that was really quite a bit of a pain. You don't have to get all of the paint off. All you're doing is just taking the shine off and roughing up your cardboard just a little bit so that the glue has a place to stick. So, and I'm just doing it kind of slow so I don't shake the table too bad. And then once you get that done, you're just going to punch your 6 circles. And if you don't have a circle punch, these ones here, I believe I made those just drawing around a pill bottle and then cutting them out with a pair of scissors, because you are going to sand the edges when you're done. So if it's not quite a perfect circle when you cut it out with your scissors, that's totally okay, because you're going to sand it at the end anyways. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I actually punch out 6? Here's 6. Okay. So, and then what I like to do is I like to have my cardboard on the outside, and I just glue them together with tacky glue right here in front of me, but couldn't find it. And you just need to put glue on 5 of them. And the only reason I say that is because every once in a while I put glue on all of them, and then I have to wipe the glue off one, or I have too much. And I just kind of put a little glue on there, and then when I put them together, I kind of smush them around to move that glue around. Now you could use a brush and paint your glue on. I would not use water glue. You want to just use your straight tacky glue or straight Elmer's glue, because that also makes them heavier. It thickens them up a little bit, makes them stronger. So I just kind of put it on there and give it a twist. And once I get them all together, then I kind of smush them around. And then this one I'm going to make sure I put this way. Okay, and then what I do is I just kind of do like this. Just kind of move them around and smush them around to move that glue out to the outside edges of my circles, because you want to make sure that it's glued everywhere. Then what you're going to do is just really give it a good pinch all the way around. Wipe off the excess, and when you're doing that, kind of even it out like that. And then you're going to stick it in a piece of parchment and stick it in a heavy book. I've got one here that I did. Set this one aside. Okay, and then once it is dry, and you want to let them dry well because you're going to get them wet again, and you want to make sure that that glue sticks right where it is. And then you're going to take your edges and you're going to sand around the edges like this. Just go around and around, just turn it as you go to get rid of any extra glue, to make all of those levels exactly the same. but you don't want to go back and forth too much in one spot, because if you do, you'll get a flat spot on your circle. So just kind of go around and around and around until you get it nice and smooth. And it takes a little bit of time to get it really smooth and really get rid of any differences in your cardboard, which you really kind of want to do. And then I just take it and give it a quick sand on each side, because when you're sanding those edges, it kind of pulls the cardboard back a little bit onto your flat part. And then once you've got that done, and I'm not going to do this one because I want to sand my edges a little better, so I'll just do one of these that I already have done. So you get it all sanded, and then what you do is you're just going to paint it. And you can paint it any way that you want to. I like to use 2 colors. To me, that's just kind of fun. And the way that I do that is just put a dot of each one down. And then I like to use a flat brush so that we can put both colors on at the same time. So then I just take a flat brush and just pick up a little bit on one half of the brush of one color, pick up a little bit of the other color on the other half of the brush, and then just take your posy and go around. Now you can do this 2 ways. I'll do 2 of them. You can just do it this way, where you keep your brush with your colors in the same spot, so that you have one color on the outside edge and one color in the middle. And just go around and around. I've got a little bump on there I was trying to get off, but it's not coming off. There we go. Until you like the looks of it. Okay, then we're just going to set that down and let it dry and do the other side the same way. So the other way that you can do it, I want to make sure I put my paint on the same sides. Okay, so I've got a little bit of paint on each one. And so you can kind of go one way and then turn it around and go the other way, so that it mixes your paints a little bit more. And I got a little bit more blue than turquoise on this one, so I'm going to grab up just a little bit more turquoise. Oops. And put it on there. Okay, so there now it looks like that. It's a little bit more blended. So once you get both sides painted, you let them dry. And then you're going to use your markers, or even a black ink pen will work just fine. This pen does not have a point on it, so I want one with a point. Oops. This one has a little bit of a better point on it. Okay, and actually, before we use our markers, we need our black paint and our white paint. Set those 2 aside. These 2 are done on both sides. So I'm just going to put a little black paint on here. Oh, I didn't shake that very well. And then I'm going to use a smaller brush, and I still like to use the flat ones. I'm going to mix my paint separated, so I'm going to mix this paint up because I don't want that little bit of oil that's on there. Now I've really got a lot of paint on my brush, which I don't need that much. And then you're just going to take your paintbrush and go around the edges. Now, the thing is that you want this to be kind of messy. It doesn't need to be perfect. Right here I have a point. I like it to be more rounded. So I'm going to kind of round that up a little bit. And you're just going to go around the edges, making it uneven. Remember to make it uneven. If you're one of those people that you try and do everything perfect, remember this is not supposed to be a straight line. Because you want it to look like a little flower when you're done. Don't forget to do your edges now. I don't do the edges when I do the color because there's no point. I'm going to cover them with black. Sorry about that. I got interrupted. And so I was doing the edges of this one. And when I did the edges, I got quite a bit of black. I'm not exactly sure how on the other side. So I always do I do one side, then I do the edge, then I do the other side. Just in case I transfer some, but this one I transferred a lot too, so I'm not sure how I did that. So when you do your edges, be careful about your other side. So, and I am just going to really quickly finish this one, and since I don't have it painted already, I can kind of cover up those spots that I messed up. By just bringing those in a little bit. And there's a little bit still in the center, portion. I'm not going to worry about that. It'll just blend in when we do the rest. Unhappy with this little spot right here. And I think that that's pretty good, so we'll let that one dry. All right, so this one is dry. The next thing that we're going to do is just take your brush and just kind of pat it in the center. See, this is kind of what it's looking like. It doesn't have to be a solid black dot. You kind of just want it to be a little bit like that. And then we'll put white dots on it when it's completely dry. You don't want to put your white dots on while it's still wet, or the white will soak up the black and they'll turn gray. And just blend right in. So there we go. Now we've got our centers on there. We'll put a center on this one too. Some really thick paint right here, so I'm going to wipe that off before I stick my finger in it. Oh, and that's probably enough to go ahead and do my centers with. So I just kind of turn my brush a little bit. You can also do this with your paint handle and just dot it on there. That's how I do the white dots. I'll flip it over and do a little bit on this side. But it's kind of good to have those little extra bits sticking out around the edges instead of doing a perfect circle. It makes it look more like a flower center. Okay, so there we go. Then those have to dry. And once they're dry, well, we can do this part first and then we can put the white dots in once they're dry. So all I do is I decide which word that I want to put on it. So on this one, we'll put hope. Okay, so this is very small. I made my black around the edges like quite large. So, but what I'm going to do is I just start a little bit of a squiggly line. I write my word in cursive and then a little bit more of a squiggly line. And I do it as small as I can. And if you have to turn it and stuff, pick up your pen if you need to. And then a little bit of a squiggly line at the end there. And I'm going to put it on here twice. The little squiggly lines, and then you're going to put them up in here. The little squiggly lines kind of make the word blend in a little bit. And so you just put some black squiggly lines wherever. You just don't want to hit your word. And there we go. Once you've got both sides done, then you are going to go ahead and put your clear coat on. Now I think we can probably shake my white. I think we can probably do our little dots now. And you can do those with, I want to this has a really fat end on it. This has a much smaller end. So just dip the end of your paintbrush in some paint, tap it off a few times so that you get a small, because this is actually a small area. So I just want little tiny white spots. And there we go. Put a few on the other side too. And then I also like to do words on both sides. So I would do a word on this side. If I really want to just do a certain message, then I put the same word on both sides. So it doesn't have to be two words like I had on the other one. Don't make your little white dots too even. So there we go. That's what that looks like. I think I want a few more white on here. Just kind of brighten it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to let those dry, and I shouldn't have. I'm going to kind of prop it up a little bit so those can dry. And then once everything is dry, then the way that I clear coat it is with nail polish. Now, your permanent markers will move with nail polish, and very possibly your ink pens will also. So the way to do it is, this one right now has 2 coats on it, and I think that's good. I could put a third if I wanted to, but the first thing that you do is, I have permanent marker on here, and I want to clear coat it with the nail polish. And so what I'm going to do is, I am going to go over it, just light coat fairly fast, because the permanent marker will smear. And I just pushed really hard on that, and it did smear my, but you don't want to go over the same spot twice. The second the nail polish hits it, it's going to kind of liquefy that. So what you want to do is just a little coat, let it dry, and then your second coat, because it's already covered, your second coat can be as heavy as you want it to be, but I'm not going to touch anywhere where those are. See how the E smeared on the love right there? But see how these two look good? I pressed harder there, and that was my second stroke across the same spot. One stroke, let it dry. It's okay if the whole thing's not covered. You're going to cover it again anyways. So, you know, just make sure that you go over top of your words, and then just let it sit and dry. And then once that's dry, put on a second coat, third coat, however many coats you would like to do. So, and then this feels pretty dry. So we'll go ahead and we'll clear coat this side of this one. And then I'll have to decide if I want to put the same word on the other side, or if I want to do another word. And if you say, oops, I missed a spot, too bad. Leave it be. Leave it be. It's very important not to go over the same spot again. Now, if you missed a spot on your paint edges, that's okay to go over again. But don't touch that center until it's dry, so that you don't smear your ink. So there we go. Those are our pocket posies. I hope you enjoyed this video today. And what we're going to need for next week is some matchboxes. I got these at the Dollar Tree for $1. And you can get this set that has 10 in it, or you can get like the big ones, and I think there's 3. And just get one set. 3 is totally fine. But we're going to just play with matchboxes next week. So either get the small ones or the big ones. It doesn't matter. And, oh, there's Papa. Hold on just a second. There we go. So yeah, so get some matchboxes for next week. We're going to spend $1. We'll need some of our pretty papers and some of our paper fasteners and paint, that type of thing. So those are pretty posies. I really do appreciate you watching. I hope if you make some of these and give them to your friends that they like them and that you have a really good time making them. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.